Hello, and welcome to this demonstration on what an IIF file is, what you should do with it, and how to get that into QuickBooks the easiest way. Now, you're probably watching this because someone has given you an IIF file and said, this is the answer to all your problems. Take this and import it into QuickBooks and you'll have to do zero data entry. Well, that sounds pretty simple. So what I'm going to show you in this demonstration is how to import the IIF, how to understand what's contained within it, and how to troubleshoot what happens when things go wrong. So stay tuned and let's get going. So the format was designed by QuickBooks as a way of bringing transactions or lists directly into QuickBooks. It's exclusive to QuickBooks, but it is editable in Excel or in Notepad applications. So if you want to see what it looks like, I've opened up one here in a simple Notepad. So you'll see across the top there's a number of what we call headers or columns. Underneath that are contained the details of the transaction or the list that's being imported into QuickBooks. If you want to understand exactly what each of these headers are and what's expected within them, there is an IIF kit available from Intuit on their website that will describe in detail each of these fields and what they are and what is expected in terms of data. So in this example, as you can see, we have a basic invoice that's going to be imported into QuickBooks. Let's have a look at one of these and see if we can actually change the data contained within them. So I've opened a copy of Microsoft Excel. So once I've browsed to the folder I want to look in, I'll select this and I'm going to select all files because IIF is not one of the standardized extensions that Excel knows about. So I'm going to choose an invoice type. So I'm going to choose this one here. Now these files are actually available within the IIF kit that Intuit provides. So it's going to ask me how I want to open this file. I'm going to select Tab Delimited and Next, and finally Finish. So Excel will parse the file and will open it up within this tile format here. So in this particular example, this file contains a combination of accounts, items, customers, and finally the detail of the transaction here, the actual invoice. So if I need to, I can edit one of these values. So in this example, I'm going to change some of the items here. I just need to type into this field and update it. I can change any of these fields that I like if I need to. I'll go back here, File, and select Save. It's important that you actually keep the file in the same format. So what I'm looking for is the extension remains IIF. If we save this file as an Excel sheet, then it would no longer import into QuickBooks. So that's very important when editing IIF files. Also, if we added in additional columns, it then might also create problems when importing it into QuickBooks. So those are two very important considerations that need to be followed when editing in IIF. So now we've made our changes, we've saved it, we can now go on to import this file into QuickBooks and import those transactions. So let's start the process of importing an IIF file into QuickBooks. So with QuickBooks open, select File, Utilities, Import, and select the IIF file option. The first thing you'll need to do is close all open windows. If you've used the IIF import feature in versions of QuickBooks before 2019, you'll notice that this process has changed. QuickBooks has introduced an improved IIF import routine. Now that includes validating and identifying potential errors that are in your IIF file. Now you can bypass this review process by selecting this link down here, but let's just use this new improved process. So by clicking import, so I've selected the IIF file that I'm going to import. It will go through the process of validating that and reviewing it. And you'll be presented with this summary screen before anything has been imported. It's identified that there are 4 errors in this file and therefore the invoices haven't been imported. So let's have a look at what those errors are. So you'll see in this notepad the results of the validation have been outputted in here. So it's telling us, where you see this error message, that the item framing that's been used in the invoice doesn't exist. Neither does the wardrobe, nor does this one or the hardware doorknobs. So we need to go through and create those items in QuickBooks before we can import. So let's do that now. So I've created those items in QuickBooks. Now let's go and reattempt the import. So this time round the IIF is imported successfully, and we can see that it's imported 4 new invoice transactions into our company file. So when we're finished, we can click Done, and now let's have a look inside QuickBooks to see where those transactions are. So we're looking for invoice number 1011. And there you can see the invoice that was imported using the IIF file. So to recap, we've been through what an IIF file is, how you can edit an IIF file, then how you can take that edited IIF file and import that into QuickBooks, and how you can troubleshoot it if you come across errors within the IIF file. So let's go through what are the advantages of this format when importing into QuickBooks. First off, it's already built into QuickBooks. It's a free feature that is available for all QuickBooks desktop versions. And in 2019, the feature's been improved to capture more errors and validate your files. Also, many apps and services support exporting IIF files to be imported into QuickBooks. So it's well established, but it has some distinct disadvantages. The IIF files themselves are very complex and hard to create manually. It's very easy to break those if you're editing them, and they're also prone to errors. Specifically, you saw when items don't match or values that you're importing don't match what's already in QuickBooks. It doesn't have smart features like quick add of names or items or anything list items that are in QuickBooks that are missing. It can't modify transactions that are already in QuickBooks. And finally, it's limited to the number of transactions and list types it supports. So for example, some of the other options that you have to import, like the batch entry or a third-party data import utilities, will give you much more in the way of smart features, as well as more extensive and comprehensive transaction and list types and field sets are supported. So you can go and have a look at some of the other movies that I've recorded on those, and the links will appear on the screen. So thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoyed this session.